In this lesson, I'm going to show you how to build the HTML structure of the main page of the case study using the Insert panel. I assume you've already created the Pacific Highway site as described in the lesson introducing the case study. You'll also want to refer to this page layout.jpg that you can find in that lessons folder. This will remind you of how the page will look. You'll need this diagram to understand how the page is put together, because the Insert panel lets you insert HTML structural elements in precise relationship to elements that have an ID. If you're new to Dreamweaver or HTML, take this lesson slowly. It's not particularly difficult, but it's important to get the steps right. So let's just move that image out of the way and then create a new HTML file and save it in the site root as index.html. Make sure that split view is open so you can see what's going on in the underlying code. Every web page needs a title, so change Untitled Document in the document toolbar to Pacific Highway. And then click into Design View. You need to open the Insert panel, which is normally grouped with the Files panel. If you can't see it, go to the Window menu and select Insert. The keyboard shortcut on Windows is Ctrl F2, it's Command F2 on a Mac. And at the top left of the Insert panel, open the menu and select the Structure category. And as the name suggests, this is the part of the Insert panel that inserts HTML structural elements. The first one we want to insert is a div. A div is a generic grouping element that has no meaning or default styles of its own. And what we're going to do is to create the wrapper div to go around the whole page. So click Div, and it will say at insertion point. That's exactly what we want. We need to give it an ID, and we'll call it wrapper. And then just click OK. And in Design View, you can see the div. It's surrounded by this dotted line, and there is placeholder text in between. In Code View, you can see div ID equals wrapper. The placeholder text is selected, so we don't need that placeholder text. Just press Delete to get rid of it. And you can see that your insertion point remains between the opening and closing div tags. So the next item that we want to put in is one of the HTML5 structural elements, header. Click Header. We want it at the insertion point, and we're going to give it an ID of header. And then click OK. The navigation menu will go inside the header. So we need to select Navigation in the Insert panel. Click that. Now because the placeholder text was selected, it says Wrap Around Selection. We don't want to wrap it around the selection. We want to place it precisely in relation to the header. That's why we gave header an ID. So open that Insert menu and select Before End of Tag. And then in the little menu that opens, you can select anything that's got an ID. So we want to put it before the end of the header. So select Header. And then the ID that we're going to give to our nav element will be main nav, all one word. And then just click OK. And you can see in Code View that the nav element has been nested inside the header element. If it hasn't, I suggest that you undo by pressing Ctrl Z on Windows, Command Z on a Mac, and do it again. On mine it's fine, so let's just have a quick look at that diagram to see what's the next item to go in. On the diagram we've got figure with the ID hero, which goes after the header. I'm going to skip that for the moment. I'll come back to it in the chapter on working with images. So what we want to do is to add this article with the ID of intro. So in the Insert panel, let's find Article. Need to scroll down a little bit. There it is. Click Article. We don't want to wrap it around the selection. It needs to go after the header. So open that menu, after Tag, and then in this list here we need to select header ID equals header, and the ID we're going to give to it is intro. Click OK, and you can see that the article has been inserted after the header but before the closing div tag of the wrapper div. Next come another 4 articles with the class teaser, so click article, and we need to select after tag. It's going to be after the intro article. Class will be teaser. Click OK. Now you can't use a class to position something precisely, but what we can do is to make sure that the remaining articles all go before the closing div tag of the wrapper. So click article again, and it will be before end of tag. Select wrapper, and teaser is the class. Click OK, and we do that another couple of times. The structure is almost complete, but we need to insert the footer. So in the insert panel, scroll down till we find footer. Click that, and again it will go before the end of the wrapper div. And we give it the ID of footer, and click OK. And we need 3 sections inside the footer. So press delete to get rid of the placeholder text inside the footer. It looks as though the footer completely disappears, but you can see the insertion point is still in the correct place in code view. So what we need to do is select section, and it will be at insertion point, and it has a class of footer links. Click OK. Now we can't use that class to place the next 2 sections, but we can use the ID for the footer. So click section, and we need to go for before end of tag, and it will be footer ID equals footer, and the class is footer links. Click OK, and once more. So that's built a solid HTML structure for the case study page. When inserting HTML structural elements, the dialog box lets you wrap the element around the current selection or to specify where you want to insert it in relation to any other element that has an ID. If you found this difficult the first time round, I suggest you practice several times. Nesting HTML elements correctly is crucial to page layout and applying more decorative styles. Time spent understanding this aspect of web design will save you a lot of heartache later.